Your move, your move.
Okay, so starting off with the deck profile, we have triple of the Exosister Martha. By far the best Exosister in the whole deck. It's not even close. That's why it's got the Starlight Red treatment. And I have these beautiful Starlight copies as well. And if you don't know what Exosisters do, I'm going to tell you the generic effect first that they all share. And then I'm going to go on to the specific effects. So all the Exosisters, Martha is a exception to this because Martha also triggers when you move cards, but all the Exosisters have the ability that when your opponent moves a card from either graveyard to use themselves as a one-card Xyz summon, which is really, really good. Martha has that effect, but also the addition that you can move cards from either graveyard and it will trigger Martha as well. So Martha also has the better effect of the normal generic effects that Exosisters have. And Martha's standalone effect is you can reveal this card in your hand, special summon Exosister Elise from the deck, and then you are locked into Exosisters for the whole turn, not the rest. If you commit to it, you're locked for the whole thing. You can't special something like a Fenrir and then activate Exosister Martha. It just doesn't work. So that's the effect. It gets 2 bodies on board and also has the generic effect. So absolutely insane card, amazing. You always want to see this, 3 copies. For the only other Exosister I play at 3, it is, of course, the target for Martha, which is the triple Exosister Elise. It also has the second best effect, apart from the generic effect. It can, if you control a Exosister monster, it does include itself. You can special summon this card from your hand. So a free level 4 body in an Xyz deck is phenomenal. And Martha has a special Elise, so you got to play 3 because you do go through Elises very, very quickly. And if there's no Elise in the deck, well, you can't activate Martha. For the other Exosisters, we play double Exosister Stella. Why not 3? Because Stella on her own doesn't make an Xyz unless, of course, your opponent moves a card out of their graveyards. But on her own, she doesn't make a Xyz monster. You need to have 2 Exosister monsters because her effect is when she's on the field, special summon 1 Exosister monster from your hand. Then if you control Exosister Elise, you gain 8. So that's a way of gaining life. Elise as well, when specials, if you control Stella, gains 800 as well. That can come up in time, guys. It's come up for me recently, so that's why I'm mentioning it to you. You know, you do pay a lot of life points, but with this, you can gain life points. And even if you have to pay 800, you can just be back at 8k. So really, really cool. And yeah, 2, because on her own doesn't do a Xyz summon. And that's the same philosophy for the 1 Exosister Sophia as well. Don't play the Irene. You never want to see that card, so I just don't play it. And I play 1 Sophia because, again, on her own, doesn't do anything. Her effect is on the field. If you have another Exosister monster, you can draw 1 card. So pretty nice. It doesn't have synergy with Prosperity, which is very annoying because if you prosp, you can't draw. And if you draw, you can't prosp. So just keep that in mind. But she's a one-off. It comes up sometimes where you can go for her and just get a cheeky draw, hopefully draw into something that you can use later on. So that is why I think you don't drop her, you just play her at 1. For the spells, triple Exosister packs. This card is such a fantastic spell. It's absolutely incredible. Shame it's only during the main phase. It kind of defeats the purpose of it being a quick play, but it's whatever. So during the main phase, you pay 800 life points and you add any Exosister card from deck to your hand, not just monsters. You can add the traps, you can add other spells, and you can add the monsters, obviously. And then if you added a monster, if you have the Exosister monster mentioned in the monster's card text that you added either on the field or in the graveyard, you can special summon it. So what does that mean? If you grab Exosister Martha or Stella, you can add it to your hand or special it if you control Elise or if Elise is in your graveyard. So that is really, really, really cool about packs. You can do it during your opponent's turn, so when they commit to moving a card out of the deck, you just basically e-telly a monster, and that will, of course, trigger after they move something out the graveyard, so fantastic. For the other spell, this is the only other one I play. I don't play Armament. I just play 1 Exosister Carp Divem. Someone in the comments, if you guys can spell out how to actually pronounce this card, that would be absolutely phenomenal, because I still don't know how to pronounce this card. I say Carpe Divinum, and I know that's completely wrong. I just don't know the correct way of pronouncing this card. Either way, this card is a continuous spell, and you can search it with packs, which is usually how you do it. Neither player can target Exosister monsters you control with the effects of monsters that were special summoned from the graveyard. So, against Horus, It's kind of useful. I can't remember off the top of my head if Imseti targets. If it does, it's phenomenal. If it doesn't, well, it doesn't matter then. But that comes up sometimes. The main effect is if you actually summon a Exosister monster, you're going to be able to declare one card name, and then your opponent is not going to be able to activate the effects of that monster on the field or cards with that original name in the hand as well, or anywhere really, until the end of the turn, which is phenomenal. And you can also exceed during your opponent's turn, so you can switch off important combo pieces as well with it. Mandatory, I think, to play one, because in an Nibiru heavy format, you've got to have a way of searching this to just switch off the nibs. It also has the other effect, when an attack is declared involving an Exosister monster, you can target spell trap on your opponent controls and destroy it. So that comes up as well. It sometimes is really, really free. Your opponent never knows about that effect. So really nice. On for the traps, we play one Exosister Returnia and one Exosister Vadis. Why am I not playing more? Could be argued to play more. I just play one of each because I really want to maximize my chances of just not going into a grind game. I know it kind of sounds silly, but with this build in particular, I just want to be able to maybe go 3-4 turns with my opponent and then beat them. I don't want to be going into those heavy grindy matchups. Playing multiple of these is good, but also if you open multiple of these in your opening hand, it's also kind of not good. So that is why I'm playing one of each. What do they do? Let's start off with Returnia. Returnia is a fantastic card. If all monsters you control are Exosister monsters, which I don't think, I guess you could have the Spirit. No, you couldn't even. You can only ever really have Exosister monsters unless you commit to an extra deck play, so that's fine. If all monsters you control are Exosister monsters, you pay 8, feel great, you target one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, and you banish it. Then you can apply one of these following effects. Immediately after this effect resolves, you can Xyz summon an Exosister Xyz monster using monsters you control. So this will have to be 2. You can't just use 1 for an Xyz summon. That would be amazing, but you actually have to use 2 this time. So annoying, but it's okay. Or if you Xyz summon this turn, you can banish one card your opponent controls, and that doesn't target either. So you can usually get a double banish, one that targets and one that doesn't. So really, really nice card. And we have the Exosister Vadis, pay 8. You choose one Exosister monster from the deck, and then you take another Exosister monster from your deck that is mentioned on that monster. So the possible combinations in this variant is Martha Elise or Stella Elise, and you special summon both of them, but then during the end phase, they are returned into the deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Exosister monsters, but that's okay. Usually, the main play with Vadis is when your opponent activates something, you can chain link to Vadis, and obviously you're going to chain it to something a card that moves something out of the grave. You'll summon both your Exosisters, their card will move something out of the grave, triggering both your Exosister monsters, and you can do one card Xyzes with both, which is absolutely insane. So that is it for the Exosister part of the deck. 15 cards. It's very, very simplistic. The build I'm going for is just consistency. This is the build probably that if you are going to go to a big event, take inspiration from this. Just consistency, reducing the bricks. We just have very minimal engines, loads of hand traps, and hopefully that is enough to take the OTS I shall be attending tomorrow. For a separate engine, I play in Exosisters. I play the Spirit package. So triple Aratama. This is... You live and die by this card, I think is the best way to describe it. It is the best card in your deck on a normal summon. This on its own is full combo completely. Don't need to discard any cards, just a true one card full combo, which is really, really nice. It's also the most vulnerable point of your deck. If you normal summon this and they imperm it and you haven't got Sakitama exactly, you have to pass, because you can no longer use Martha, because you control a monster that isn't a Exosister monster, and it just messes up your whole thing. What I recommend to newer Exosister players is, if you are going to normal summon the Aratama, you need to have either the call by or the crossouts in hand to protect it, or avoid doing it unless it's your only hope. If you can do Martha first, always do Martha first, because if something sneezes on this card the wrong way, your turn ends, because it just messes up with Martha's conditions of summoning herself. So that is why you got to be really, really careful with this card, but it's an absolutely fantastic card if it resolves. And the card we are adding off Aratama is double Sakitama. I'm not playing 3 because it's searchable, and also we don't want to be seeing too many of it in your hand. Yes, it's nice to open sometimes, but you would much rather search it out. Don't know what it does. You reveal this card in your hand, and you can immediately normal summon a spirit monster in addition to a normal summon. So that is really nice. So you just normal summon itself, and then what you do is Aratama, Sakitama make a Xyz monster. So usually your Exosister Caspatel detach, search Martha, summon Martha, full combo. So these are the cards that do it, and you just always want to see these cards as well. So you always want to see the Aratama at least, and hope that nothing sneezes on it the wrong way. For the hand traps, this is where it differs from my old build. We are rocking in the main deck, probably the best hand trap of the format, Triple D Shifter. It used to be Droll. Droll's now on the side. This card is too good to not play. This card not only lets you dodge cards like Veiler, like Droll, like Ogre, because they need to go to the graveyard. It's just a turn skip for your opponent most of the time if they're not playing a deck that can resolve its things under the Shifter. So really, really good card. Acts like a call by the grave as well. Something I like doing is usually if your opponent has Droll and Ash, you activate Prosperity. They're not going to Ash it because they want to Droll you. So you activate Prosp, you banish 3 or 6, and then when you pass priority to your opponent and they say they have nothing, you change Shifter, and then Prosperity will resolve, Shifter will resolve, and they can no longer Droll you, and they could have Ashed it, but they didn't. That's come up a few times as well. Another heads-up play. So just something to be not cautious about, something to know, something to have in your arsenal. For another hand trap, we have 3 beautiful Ash Blossoms. Ash Blossom is a card that you have to be very, very careful of this format because obviously fire decks are supreme. But I think it's good, just good enough to play. It has great synergy with Shifter because it doesn't need to go to the graveyard. All of my hand traps have that stipulation. I don't want to be playing Drolls. I don't want to be playing Veilers because if I Shifter and then I have that other card in hand, that is a dead card. And with a deck like Exosisters, every card counts. So that is why I'm playing these hand traps, before you guys get to the comments saying, why aren't you playing Veiler? Triple Ghost Mourner. This would be Veiler if you weren't playing Shifter, but we are, so we play Mourner. This is also really cool in time, because if your opponent's going to do any cool plays, you hit them with this, you negate a monster, and then if that monster leaves the field, they take damage equal to its original attack. So it makes, in time, not too scary, because we have the Mourners. It just discards itself, doesn't need to go to the graveyard. If it did, we wouldn't be playing it. And for our last hand trap, it is, of course, the Triple Infinite Impermanence. So that makes 12 hand traps in a 41 card deck. And I believe the calculations are pretty favorable in opening 1. Obviously, if you could pick 1, you'd open Shifter. But drawing 2 hand traps isn't out of the question as well most of the time. Moving on to the power spells. So it is a 41 card deck. I don't know if I mentioned that already. We have Triple Pot of Prosperity. This card is so free because you play so many Exosister names and you have a few spots for generic, and you usually just get rid of some Exosister names and most of the generic. You can always go for 6. You can even go for 6 and 3 sometimes because you can. It's just a deck that can use Prosperity very, very well. Obviously, with all these 1-card combos, Aratama is a 3 of, Martha's is a 3 of, Pax is a 3 of. You have 9 ways of seeing combo through 1 card, and obviously the entire deck is also 2-card combos as well when you involve Stella and Elise. So yeah, amazing consistency card. I wouldn't play anything less than 3. This is something I've added from the last build and I haven't looked back since. We have the double Triple Tactics Thrust. This card is incredible, guys. It's so good. I would highly recommend that you just play it. Obviously, I know it's expensive, but it will get reprinted eventually, and when it does, you play it. So amazing. If your opponent activates a monster effect at any point during your turn, you can set a normal spell or trap directly from your deck. Or if your opponent controls a monster, you can add it to your hand, and that means if it's added to the hand, you can use it immediately. If it's set, it's got to wait a turn, but you can set your Vadis and Returnia with this, which is really, really nice. And we play the 1 Triple Tactics Talent. This is amazing for going second. This just provides Thrust and Talents provides a lot of pressure on your opponent going second. And that is something I think Exosisters can struggle with sometimes, is going second. So these just really, really help going first and second. So why wouldn't you play it? For the last couple spells, we play double Crossout Designator. As I said, Aratama is a walking target, so you got to make sure that he is protected. This can come up as well game 3 if you're fearing blowout cards, because you can struggle against blowout cards. You can side in blowout cards, just 1 copy into your deck, and then you can cross them out in game 3 to dodge them or just negate them. And then for the 41st card, we play 1 Call by the Grave. Why 41? Because I feel like 41 is still a very good number. Maybe if you want to play 40, just cut out, cross out, and play the call by instead. So you'd be 40 with one call by, one cross out. Why not double cross out? Because cross out is once per turn. So you'd never play 2 cross out. You just play 1 cross out and 1 call by the grave. So that is 41 card deck. I'm very, very happy with it. Let's now move on to the extra deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we have the Link monsters. We actually play 2, and I feel like you kind of have to, because if you get debarriered, you can't just do nothing. So you play the Artemis SP. I mean, if they debarrier you and you have a bunch of Exosister monsters on field, just leave them most of the time, because that forces your opponent to out them through battle phase before they can move cards from the graveyard. Or if they forget, you get 4 Xyz summons, for example, if you had 4 of them anyway. So really, really nice. But it's nice to have an option. Artemis takes 1/4 lower spell cost the monster, which is all your Exos, and SP made with a Link monster gets its immediate banish effect. So that's why we're just playing these 2. It's just nice to have. It comes up very, very occasionally, but when it does, you are very grateful that you have this package. For the big bad boss monster, we have Exosisters, not Exosister, Exosisters Magnifica. This is the best boss monster I have seen in a long, long time. I always say that in these deck profiles. If you don't know what it does, it takes 2 rank 4 Exosister Xyz monsters. You might think that's difficult. In this deck, it's really, really easy. You always end up with 2 rank 4 Exosister Xyz monsters to just make into this. And you might be thinking, this better be pretty good if you're going to commit so many resources to it, and it is. So it has to be Xyz summoned with the above materials again, so you can't just summon it out with a little body. It can make a second attack during each battle phase, so 5/6 off the bat is amazing. There are ways of boosting that as well, so it almost becomes game on its own. You can detach 1 material from this card, banish 1 card your opponent controls. That is a quick effect that just doesn't target either. It's absolutely amazing. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, return 1 Xyz monster that is attached to this card as material, and you just special summon it out using this as material. What I mean, if you have a Michaelis under this, you tag out, and then you summon the Michaelis, and this becomes the material. That is treated as an Xyz summon, most importantly, meaning all of the Exosister monsters would gain their bonus effects when they're Xyz summoned, when they're special summoned off of this card, which is amazing. For the only 3 of Exosister monster in the extra deck, we play triple Michaelis. Do you need to play 3? Yep, you do, because this card comes up all the time. This is your main card. If you're not making Exosisters Magnifica, you're making Exosister Michaelis 9 times out of 10. This card is amazing. Cannot be destroyed by battle with special summon monsters from the graveyard. I think all of the normal rank 4 Exosister monsters have that stipulation. Also, if you control this card that was Xyz summoned this turn, it's just a quick effect banish of the graveyard or field. It does target, but that's just really cool to have. And also, you can detach 1 material from this card and an Exosister spell trap from your deck to hand. So, card does pretty much everything. It's such a nice card. And yeah, having that quick effect banish just the turn it was summoned is absolutely insane. For a 2 of here, we play double of the Exosister Caspatel. Got to get my ultras soon. I'm still rocking the rares. This is the second best rank 4 Exosister monster. It's essentially the counterpart of Michaelis. It doesn't have that quick effect banish, which is annoying, but it has some could argue an even better effect if made during your opponent's turn. Again, it cannot be destroyed by battle by a monster special from the graveyard. The turn that this card is Xyz summoned, your opponent cannot special summon monsters. No, neither player can special summon monsters from the graveyard, from the graveyards for the rest of the turn, which is cool. You're not going to ever special summon from the graveyard anyway, so it's basically just your opponent, and it affects both graveyards, which is cool. Sky Striker player tried to shock cannon me off to summon this, to summon something from my graveyard to push for an access code line. I'm like, nope, you just can't, because this card says from either graveyard, so absolutely nice. And also, you can detach 1 material from this card, add an Exosister monster from your deck to your hand. So, with the spirits, you go into this, detach 1, add Martha. Not Martha, Martha, you add Martha. And then you use Martha effect, and you special summon 2 more, and then that's how you get a 1-card combo to 2 rank 4s. For the other ones, we play 1 Gibrine. So, these ones you don't make a lot, but you need them. You need them at 1, yes or yes. They are very, very useful utility to have. So this one, the turn it is Xyz summon, quick effect is a targeted negation, which is obviously really nice. And also you can detach 1 material from this card, and for the rest of the turn, all Xyz monsters you control gain 800 attack. So that's monsters after, even if this card leaves the field or used for a Magnifica, it will gain 800. It's not currently on the field, it's just all Xyz monsters that you summon this turn will gain 800 attack, which is pretty nice. And we have the 1 Exosister Asophiel, and Asophiel is pretty cool. It doesn't have the quick effect, which is annoying, but it has some pretty cool effects. So the turn it's Xe summoned, it essentially Abyss Dwellers, both graveyards. So neither player can activate a card effect in the graveyard this turn, which is amazing. And not on a quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, target one monster opponent controls, and return it to the hand. So again, really, really nice. For the free, or the flex spots, I guess you can say, we play the 1 Zeus, obviously, because this is an Xyz deck. Zeus just capitalizes on that, allowing you to snap over any Xyz monster that's battled, and then just get board wipes. Obviously, if you use Martha, you can't make the Zeus, and if you make the Zeus, you can't use Martha later on, so just keep that in mind. We play the 1 Typhon, same sort of reasoning that even if you don't play an Xyz deck, you should play Typhon. It's just a cool, if they summon twice, if your opponent summons twice on their turn, you just get a free skill drain from 3,000 attack monsters or above and a bounce, which is pretty cool. We play the 1 Gagaga Cowboy for time. So I think like you have to play it. I'd love for this to be like a Exciton Knight. If I had 1 space spare, I would play Exciton Knight, but I play the Cowboy instead. And we play the 1 Baguska. Sometimes your opponent can hand trap you enough so that you can't make 2 Xyz monsters. And in that case, you just make a Baguska in defense, and that's sometimes enough for your opponent. They just can't really out Baguska. It's not that easy. Everything's sort of skill drained, all monsters. And then during your turn, you just flip it to attack, and you can continue your plays. So that's it for the extra deck. Let's now get on to the side deck. Moving on to the side deck, we have triple Drone and Lockbird. So Drone and Lockbird comes in the matches where Shifter does nothing. There's certain decks where you have to keep Shifter and Droll in, Dark Worlds being one of them, for example, because it's just hard lose to both. And in those cases, that's fine. If you see one or the other, you're pretty much shutting off the whole turn. But in most cases, against Floowandereeze, for example, the Shifters come out and the Drolls come in. We play triple Cosmic Cyclone. We need that spell and trap removal. It is pretty important, this format, I'd say, with Centurions as well. You can Cosmic the field spell, so they can't quick sync during your opponent's turn. You can hit Runic Fountain. That's a really important card, and they can't Hugin Protect. You can hit Fire King Island to Raigeki the opponent's board. You can hit the Snake Eyes Continuous, the Snake Eyes Field Spell, or the Snake Eyes that are considered spells and traps. It's just a really good card, and if you don't play it, you're going to miss it, so just play it. Double Gravekeeper's Inscription. I feel this card is really, really funny because during your main phase 1, you apply one of these effects and it's till the end of your opponent's turn. Neither player can activate card effects in the graveyard. Neither player can banish cards from the graveyard. Neither player can special summon monsters from the graveyard. If you're siding this in, the deck you are siding it into loses really hard to one of these effects, so that is why you play it. Why did I not play 3? Because I don't really want to be seeing 2, and it has to be the first thing in main phase 1, so you can't thrust into it, which is annoying. So that is why I only play 2. For the other spots, I play Thrust Target galore. So we play 1 Duster, because Thrust into the Duster just is amazing. We have the 1 Dark Ruler No More. Again, just Thrust and says a no to a lot of boards. It's actually a really good card. You could arguably cut the 2 Gravekeeper's Inscriptions and just put in triple Dark Ruler instead. 1 Evenly Matched. Again, an amazing card. 1 D-Barrier. This is amazing against Synchro and Fusion decks. Against Xyz decks, just remember it switches off your stuff as well. But just be careful. And for going first, triple Jesus. Jesus saves me a lot of the time from Evenlies and from Dark Rulers and stuff like that. And yeah, Jesus says no, pay half your life points. And that is a way of, these always come in. That is a way of stopping the board breakers. These always come in going first. What do I take out? I usually take out triple Ghost Mourner, and I just put in triple of the Solemn Judgment, known as Jesus, and I call it a day. Because going first, you have pretty good matchup anyway, because you'll be able to set up your full Exosister Banish combo. So you just need the triple Jesus to stop you getting Dark Rulered or Evenlead or whatever. If you get Kaiju'd, you cry, and you hope that you have Vadis. There's not much you can do against Kaiju's, which is annoying. But apart from that, Jesus is great. So that is the end of the Exosister deck profile. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but I am taking this to a OTS championship tomorrow. So at the time of recording, it is currently Friday. So this video will come out on the Monday. And if it comes out on the Monday, just leave a comment. How did it go? Hopefully well. Going for the win. Going for the second OTS championship win. And I will be taking Exosister. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.
It's time. Let's go.